things you can get off and do.
She said it, sometimes you can like go through a forest,
Oh,
or it's
yeah.
like you're
You can
actually
be in
out
a
on.
studio setting,
Yeah.
or you can be like on the banks of Hawaii, or running in like a beach.
Not an awful thing, I suppose, this time of year. Do you have one? They say you actually go out and run.
It's just nothing like the real thing, though.
Might be a little more enjoyable, I don't know.
It'd be cheaper to put on a movie and get a stationary thing for your bike in your living room.
That's true. Watch a movie, with a baby.
We pulled up Pamela pulled up Facebook last night, and she typed in Fort Myers Beach, and she's scrolling through different pictures, and suddenly there's a picture of Tom, our son, floating in a pool, with the caption, "I'm so white, I have to wear shades."
Oh, jeez.
And somebody posted under it, you know, and Harry too.
Oh, jeez.
Did you know he was down there?
Oh, yeah, I knew
Yeah.
he was there, but yeah, it was,
Oh, he's there right now?
no,
Oh,
no,
there was
this
an
was,
older picture.
this is a Facebook posting
Oh.
under Fort Myers Beach. It was like,
Wow.
well, that's weird.
Coincidence.
I think girls gone wild or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Middle-aged men gone wild.
You know, when we're in Mexico at the resort, if you post pictures and tag the resort, it does that.
Oh, it does? Huh. Oh, yeah.
You ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did you guys have a chance to look at the minutes?
Yep,
I'll
So
change-
moved.
I'm gonna change it to 17 acres.
All right, and seconded.
All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Claims, any questions?
Just one question on page 3. I'll probably have to ask the sheriff if he shows up. And this is towards the bottom,
Is there a what?
$2,948, 2,948.
You give me a minute, I'll see if I can look at the
Oh,
index.
okay. Services. That was my question I had. Anyone else?
Gary, you got anything?
Nope.
I guess I had one. Give me a second to find it.
Okay.
Nobody here can actually probably give it to me. The weed commissioner, $700 for a license.
What page is that?
I don't know, I'm looking for it now.
It's toward the end.
He has to do like his herbicides and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that high.
There's different things he has to do.
I mean, if it was that high, that's fine. Not fine, but I mean, you gotta have it. There it is. Page 5. Second column.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Agricultura,
Yeah,
yeah, it's the light spraying license.
okay. I know, like, for farm, it's not nowhere near that.
It'd probably be more like a commercial, but
Yeah. Okay.
once she finds that and, you know, but I'd make a motion we approve the claim.
Okay.
Second.
You had to give
Try to get it out there, Gary.
All right. All in favor of approve the claims?
Aye.
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 Pretty good.
My throat is. I had to restart myself.
Any reports?
Had a security committee meeting. About all I can say about that.
I got these are the redistricting maps. This is the one that,
You think you're gonna go with?
Not to interrupt, but the Latinum, it was a dietitian, so she had a dietitian out plan
Really?
jail for the 2048.
Dietitian plan.
That's what it says, Benton County dietitian hours, so she must set up their menus for the jailers.
Oh, hours, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
this was the other option we could have went with.
This is the one you did go with?
But
Okay,
you guys have to meet yet again, don't you, have to make it formal? So-
Yeah, but that's the one where,
It was, if you wanna come in and look at the census blocks, the numbers, cause 5 of us, I mean, you'll need to come in and look to understand, to break it up. But we're trying to still get answers from SOS on what's gonna, but I'm not on the committee, so.
what was the deciding factors? Is it population?
yeah,
It's the census blocks when we get them, and then we download them in the
Okay,
mapping,
sure.
and that's who we had, the Schneider Beacon,
yeah.
the other company using that for us.
I'll come back to this. You guys are up.
Thanks. I appreciate the time this morning. My name's Brock Morrison. I think you guys know me. I've spoken here before. Today I'm with the Benton County Critical Incident Stress Management Team. We're a relatively new organization for Benton County. What we do is we provide debriefings, interventions, diffusings to first responders specifically after they've experienced a critical incident. So what that is they go on a car accident, knocked out of the incident, call with a child, anything that has the potential to overwhelm their normal coping mechanisms, we consider a critical incident. And so we will then respond to them either pretty much immediately after, on scene, or within 3 to 5 days after that incident, depending on what type of intervention we're providing. It depends on the time frame. And then we conduct an intervention with them to try to alleviate some of the trauma that's gonna set into their mind. So it's essentially like going to get an intervention done for your body, but for your mind, just more immediately than waiting 6 months to go to counseling, if that makes sense. Studies show that this helps to alleviate the trauma that sets in, so they're not going home and drinking or getting domestic violence charges or drinking and driving, etc., like that, things like that. More so today, I wanted to make you aware of who we are, because obviously I think it's important that you guys know we are a county-wide organization. We unofficially started in 2017. I don't know if you know Kim Raymond. She's a Van Horn first responder. We both took the training that's required to conduct these interventions, and then kind of started doing them around the county, very unofficially. In the end of 2019, that was a bad year for the county, if you guys remember, the end of 2019 for accidents and deaths and stuff. We decided that we needed to make this kind of more formal. And so the beginning of 2020, we started to get some more members. We met with Shelby and Lindsay with Access Hub, and they became members of our team. I think they were our first 2 members. And then kind of grew from there. We now have 10 members that consist of Shelby, Lindsay, other first responders from around the county, our clinical director, like our Dr. Meeker, if you will, for our team, is Vanessa West with Therapeutic Innovations, Josh West's wife. And then we also have Sam Urach from Virginia Gay, who is a doctor of nursing practice in behavioral health. She is our clinical director. So the rest of our team members, we are a 501c3 now as of this year. So we have a board, and then we have our team members. All but Sam also serve as team members and board members. So we did want that outside person who does not come to us on interventions with us, or have any interest in our team other than being on the board, but brings specific mental health experience. So Sam Urach fills that role for us. In total, we have 10 members. We've done, I believe, almost 20 interventions this year, which accumulates to several hours of time, or maybe it's 20 hours, it might be 20 hours of time this year. Countless more put in voluntarily, going over protocols, procedures, meetings, etc. In total, probably throughout the year, we spend over 50 hours doing either interventions, paperwork, meetings, and things like that. How it works, I was on North Benton Ambulance, I'm not anymore, so when I did have a radio and a pager, I would obviously know most things going on around the county. But either any first responder that's on that gets a page or knows of an incident that we may need to go to will notify me. I'm the team coordinator and the president. And so they'll notify me, I'll then reach out, we'll say that it's the sheriff's office, I'll reach out and say, hey, I understand that there was a pretty bad car accident that you had some deputies respond to. Is everybody doing okay? Is there anything we can do to help? Would you like to set up an intervention? The sheriff's office will then talk to their people and reply and say yes or no, but we'll do that for any agency that was involved in Benton County. So if it was Newhall Fire, Van Horn Fire, Newhall First Responders, State Patrol, Sheriff's Office, we reach out to all of them, and we have information surrounding the agencies as well, and invite them all to a debriefing together. We can also do one-on-one, so maybe somebody's not able to go to the debriefing, or maybe Shelby was involved and only she is requesting assistance. We can meet with her one-on-one and do an intervention that way.
I'm surprised at the highway patrol. You guys are doing that for the highway patrol as well.
So we also serve on the as a team on the Iowa CISM network as well. That's essentially like your hazmat response teams. The state is also broken up into a CISM network. Story County Story County Sheriff's Office pays their dispatch to answer and kind of dispatch teams to 911 CISM calls. So if somebody in our area, which is currently Benton, Lynn, Johnson, and Iowa counties, would call and say, I need a CISM intervention, they would dispatch us to any of those counties because we cover those. We don't primarily provide for any agency outside of Benton County, but if it's the State Patrol or Motor Vehicle Enforcement or State DNR, etc., and they're in town, we will invite them to an agency if they respond, or as an agency if they responded in Benton County. The State Patrol, Motor Vehicle Enforcement, they do have their own peer support teams, so we're not their primary, but we would respond if requested outside of the county as well, and we have done that a couple times. We went to Riverside a couple of months ago because they couldn't find another team that would respond to them. So not our primary, and we're not only first responders, we're primarily first responders. We would serve anyone, such as a business that experienced some kind of traumatic event. We would be happy to debrief their employees, but we have not yet, and we are primarily geared toward first responders.
It's really good that you guys are doing your work closer to the event rather than waiting, let's say 6 months or a year, and then trying to clean up the mess, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's what we're finding. This is a completely voluntary process. There's a lot of literature around, a lot of newer literature coming out that's saying this is not beneficial. All of those literature reviews are only when CISM is forced. So this is a voluntary process. When we have chiefs or sheriffs or directors that say, well, I'm mandating all my people come, I strongly advise them doing against that, and whether they mandate them come or not, it's a voluntary process if you talk, because that's the only way that it's really beneficial. When you force people to talk about this stuff, it does not go well. And we have little debriefing cards. It's essentially a 7-step model that we go through. Our job as team members there is really only to facilitate this. So if it was you four doing this, we would get the ball rolling and Haley would start, and then I would ask the question, Haley would answer, and then we would go around the room. If you don't want to answer, you can say pass. Once it gets back to me, I'll ask the second question, and then essentially when we get going, a lot of the discussion starts between you guys, kind of helping yourselves. Our job is really only to keep the meeting on track, as I'm sure you probably understand with first responders who go on calls every day. It's really easy to go down rabbit holes of stuff from 20 years ago. That's not stuff that we can fix. That's counseling and therapy types of things. We can help with the things that happened very recently.
I would guess that the highway patrol deals with many bad accidents and such.
Yeah, they have their own team. They actually just got their leader of their team a CISM K9, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, they have a very well-known team, and we've connected with them many times. We have a good working relationship with a lot of teams and other peer support individuals around our county. As I said, we are a 501c3, so we received a grant from Mercy Rural Healthcare Grant last year to kind of get going. Otherwise, our funding is limited. We did just receive a $500 donation from the Benton Wetlands Club, which was awesome. The other part of me coming to speak today was to ask what your thoughts were and if there was any way for us to use any space in here for our interventions. Such as like this room, or Lindsay's been wonderful about allowing us to use the access hub a couple times, but 6 or 7 people in there crams that quick, and there's no tables or chairs to set up anything. And sometimes we get 20 people in an intervention. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And again, when Lindsay's here, access to the building is very easy, but Lindsay's not always able to be here. Obviously, not every team member is able to come to every intervention. So if Lindsay is not here, getting access to the building can obviously be difficult.
Have you utilized the, lack of better words, conference room at the sheriff's office?
I just found out from Shelby that Ron said that was an option.
Because it's a 24/7 facility, and they're there where they can open the doors, and obviously if law enforcement's involved, at least in our county, most officers are familiar with the facility. Even the first responders, I'm sure, are not unaware of it. So
I think the big thing with that is it's supposed to be confidential, and so if there's a dispatcher that comes in and she's not on her shift, she's coming just for the meeting, there's cameras everywhere, and so the other dispatchers might know, and then that might start a conversation when, let's say Haley goes to a meeting when she's not at work, but she has to show up to the sheriff's office, and then she goes to work the next day, and one of the other dispatchers or jailers or somebody might say, hey, what were you doing last night, and might approach her about a conversation that she didn't want anybody else to know about.
yeah, I don't know if there's cameras in that room or not.
There's not, but there's
Cameras
everywhere.
At least in the common area.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just something that I know that some deputies have said before, please don't tell anybody that I'm going. Because
Sure.
it's looked at as a sign of weakness at times, to be able to,
So when are most of your meetings? Are they in the
At
evening?
Usually nighttime during the week, 6-ish. We like to allow people time to get off work and come, because as you know, many of the first responders around here are volunteers and work full-time jobs. So usually anywhere from 5:30, and usually they last around an hour to an hour and a half, but we've had some go over 2 hours. So 5 to 8-ish. is the normal time frame. And yes, as Shelby said, anything about an intervention is confidential. So again, if I'm performing an intervention with you guys, anything that's said in this room, of course, outside of mandatory report or guidelines, is confidential. Nothing is released to anyone. I don't go back to your employer and say, well, Haley said this in intervention, is this what happened? It's not a process to find what went wrong, what went well. It's not an after-action review, if you will. It's strictly for you guys to have a safe, confidential place to let out how you feel about the incident and how you feel since the incident within 24 to 72 hours.
And to hear other
And to hear
people's
other people.
perspective, because
Yeah.
what somebody sees is different than what the person next to them is seeing. So being able to come 360 and hear everything that happened is helpful.
Well,
That's what helps most people is hearing, oh, I didn't know you were on, the other side of the road doing that. That makes me feel way better because I didn't think anybody was getting to that, etc.
We hear it from them.
Well, I don't think the meetings in this conference room are so much at night as much as they are during the day, you
The
know.
problem is he'd have to have access to the other door probably to get in through that one, so.
Yeah,
I have access.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that it was okay for me to bring in a bunch of people after hours.
yeah, I was gonna say, I thought you would have access
Yeah.
to the doors, outside doors.
Yeah.
You probably don't have a key for this room, but,
No.
that's not that big a deal,
Yeah.
so. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either.
So would it be possible for our team to get access? Again, like if Shelby and Lindsay aren't available, that negates the whole purpose of this.
As far as team, that might be, since you're the chair, that may be something that we could,
Right, I would be responsible for the keys, and then if I had to give one to somebody else, that would be my responsibility to get that back and ensure that.
everything's buttoned up, et cetera. Yeah, yeah. Again, I don't have an issue with that. I don't know that I want 20 different cards and keys out.
Yeah, I would say one, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Because between the three of us,
Yeah.
between you, me, and Lindsay, I think.
And I live next to John, so I can always come, if I can't come to the debriefing, I can come at least unlock the door,
Mhm.
and let.
Sure.
But yeah, we would clean up, we would put stuff back exactly how it was found. This is just a very good central location that's not, as Shelby was saying, nobody's watching the cameras saying, oh, Shelby was at the intervention last night. Seems like she's really struggling. This is nobody's business, who was here and what they said and what it was over. Aside from the people that come, we don't even disclose what the intervention is about. So if, an email goes over to the sheriff's office, there's an intervention and North Benton ambulance sees people coming, they weren't on scene, that information is not, available to them on what the
Benton County
intervention is even
Supervisors.
about. Because then.
Yes, this is Clayton Ork calling, Buchanan County Supervisor. I was wondering if the Auditor Haley is available, please?
I am, but we're in a Board of Supervisors meeting right now.
Okay.
Can I,
Could I leave you my phone number?
Sure.
563-920-4338.
All right, I can give you a call back after the meeting.
Thank you much.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye-bye. You lucked out.
Tried to pass that one off, it didn't work
Yeah,
out.
no, it didn't work.
Well, I don't see a problem with it, Braxton, I really don't.
you'll just have to go up to the courthouse and have Ben make you,
Pass, like, yeah, which Shelby's got, you just gotta get one of these.
Here, anyone you must have a program that's gonna go flying.
Okay.
it might work,
Bring it by.
I'll have to ask him first. I'll let
it
him
might
know.
work better for them to come in this door.
It's dead bolted.
Can't do it.
dead
I'm
bolt.
gonna stop and talk to Scott at like 10:30, 10:45, I'll come.
Then
I'll
she'll
come
be
up
back
after
by
that.
then,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions? Very brief rundown of what we do, but I thought it was important that you guys know as well, because obviously everybody in the county is kind of under you, so.
Well, Ben can get you your card access but I presume he needs to get with Rick or your office
For
to get a
that.
key.
We really appreciate it. Like I said, this will really help us out. Because kind of when I was at North Benton, we held some there. The fire department's offered for when they have, people on. Obviously the sheriff's office is kind of an option, but we don't have a central location that we can say, this is where they are, and I don't really like bouncing around back and forth, especially when we're in Vinton. If we're in Belle Plaine, we're not gonna make Belle Plaine people come all the way down here.
Right.
But if we have everybody central to here, that really helps to have a central location that has enough room. So thank you. If you guys have any other questions, please.
How often would you have these meetings?
Completely depends. Sometimes it's 0 in 3 months, sometimes it's 3 in 3 weeks, or 3 in 2 weeks.
We've had incidents before where stuff seems to come in threes, and so every incident we debrief separately. So we've had times before where we've done 2 within 1 week with the same agencies. I think it was somewhere down south, but two big things happened within, I think, 2 days, wasn't it? And so instead of doing them together, because that's a big no-no, we processed each one separately, but we saw the same people within the same week.
Yeah, I live in Blairstown, but our farm is north of town, and I watched on Highway 30, and it's very traumatic whenever somebody dies.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not so sure that you shouldn't expand your work to the families of victims as well. I don't know how you could do that, but, I mean, I watched, one gal went from a party, and I don't know if she'd had some stuff to drink or what, but it was foggy and she got killed, and the family has spent a lot of time.
Yeah, we've had some discussion around that and how it would work, if it would work, if that's something we wanna do, cause that would obviously make us busier. So right now, we have probably 1 to 3 ratio, cause we don't wanna overwhelm, the responders with 6 of us and 3 of them. So there's kind of some, numbering science of how the ratio of what you have to do. So we would have to be, willing to be a little bit busier than we are. And people that want to specifically respond to families. So it's been discussion, we've definitely talked about it.
And I'm sure there's agencies that you can refer the family members to.
Yes, and Shelby is one of those. That's the wonderful thing about having Shelby and Lindsay on our team. They brought wonderful insight from the county and from their personal jobs that they do. It's a huge asset to have them.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me, so.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. I have another meeting to go to, so I apologize.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Appreciate your dedication to this.
Thank you.
Good, how are you?
I told Shelby to come if she wanted for the change orders.
Okay. Yeah.
I paid for that closet for that.
She printed all of them because I'm not sure which one she's doing.
The unofficial filing.
First
Well,
one is
yeah.
one
So we used to have
leaning
drawers.
toward.
Wow.
The second one
This works.
Yeah, it
would
does.
have used as well. I never said anything. I let the rest of
No, you voted. I heard you on the phone.
I voted, but I never said anything. It was all well, there's only one here.
I mean, you can sit there and do the math too and try to play around with them. It's not easy to, because you have to be within the 1.02%.
That I get, but why do they change the numbers on the districts?
Because of how like Atkins grew, certain areas grew and certain areas didn't.
But when you look at the numbers, what I was sent, District 2 on this map here has more townships and it has more people than the District 1 or District 3.
That's that one on the table, we didn't use that.
I understand.
The option 2.
Yeah, you'll
The
have to look.
population is really close.
It's, yeah,
It's still 8,514 if I remember right.
I don't remember the numbers. I mean, honestly, I
Cause
let the
I've been
com-
catching a lot of,
Oh, I'm sure. We are too, and it's like, we've had, like numerous people try
But-
to play around with it.
but I understand, but we were District 1. Who come up with the idea to change it from District 1 to District 2?
It's just where the boundary changed. So then it absorbed. So if you look at it.
It has nothing to
just-
do with what it was.
No, no. It's just moving the boundaries of the districts itself. So like Vinton is a huge participation in the District 3 one.
The only other option that we'd have had would have been to split a
Split a
township.
township, and then that's hard for voting precincts too. Because we're not gonna change the overall polling locations. I think we're good there. It's just your guys' district. It's gonna affect.
And
Which
I'm
is-
open to
realistically-
suggestions.
It changed 10 years ago too. I mean, I can show you 10 years ago how it changed drastically too, but.
I wouldn't mind seeing the current to this.
Yeah, come on, you can come in our
Yeah.
office and look at the actual map.
And I gotta come up after some paperwork anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're welcome to
And-
all come in and look at
and-
that. And look at the numbers, how
Right.
you play around with it and see.
Yeah.
If you're gonna keep total townships, it's really,
That's the hard part, yeah.
I get that, but I'm just saying, like I said, you could still have District 1, District 3, District 2.
Oh, well, that part might be changed, that could be
You
just the way
understand?
the lady,
And then-
she might have just put
You
the
follow me?
options on there, yes.
That
yes.
way, it don't affect anybody.
I'd have to look back at the.
You follow me, guys?
Right. Yeah, like I was from District 2.
You'll stay in 2.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a simple how to solve this whole
Yeah.
problem, but,
It's just the boundaries changed.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then I understand I mean, like I said, to me, just to make it easy, this still would maintain District 3. This would be 1, and that would be 2. And that way, we're all still in our districts, even though the districts are different. You follow me? You're
little
just
bit.
changing the numbers.
Yeah, like I said, come in there and talk and we'll look at it that way.
So
'cause
this
it's
is, like
not
I
on
said,
me.
this is the static that I caught
Okay.
last week.
And we have a calling.
well, you can call them whatever you want, it don't really matter.
Well, that's what I mean. It's simple,
Okay,
and
see that again here.
The name, not the boundaries.
Right.
to me, it's simple how to solve the problem. Just switch the numbers around and you still stay number 2, I still stay number 1. And
Right.
'cause I said, I could not give anybody any answers last week when they were bouncing me about
Well, I
this.
didn't know, how'd you hear about it already?
Phone calls.
But it was
It got
Gary
out.
on the committee, so
I
I don't
have
know
told
who,
nobody,
cause I don't know who, I didn't even know about it until the
I haven't
next
told
day.
nobody,
And.
I haven't even told my wife.
Well, that's what I mean, how, I don't understand, because that meeting was in here, it wasn't even publicized.
I know it wasn't. That's why I couldn't believe they were asking me already that you're District 2 now and you're out of a
That's what I
job.
don't
And
understand, other than the publication that we
not.
sent for the notice.
You know,
They saw the notice probably.
it- yeah, I suppose that could screw things up.
yes, it will.
It could, yeah.
The only way it wouldn't, that basically you have to, you will resign
Yeah,
at the end of your, not at the end of your term, but at the end of 22, and you're gonna run again for District 3, which would allow me to run for District 2, which I reside at now.
yeah. Yeah, you're right, yeah.
And that's where we're trying to get answers from that stuff.
Yeah, because that, you're right, that just kinda,
Yeah.
well, and where I'm 2, that messes that up.
That's right.
totally.
That's
This, because I'm right here,
Yeah,
which is, in this case, 3, but even if you called that, you're 1, aren't you?
yes, I
Okay.
am one now.
And so even if this was 1, oops, how do we do that?
That's right.
Yeah, well, that's a very good point.
So like I said, just change the numbers.
But if you change the numbers, where this is 3, change it to 1, I don't live in 1.
No, to me, you keep it as 2. You're in 2 now.
I'm in 2.
Keep it to 2.
Change this to 2.
Yeah, just
Okay,
blue
Yeah.
would be number 1,
change this
red
to
would be
1,
number 3.
and this to 3.
Yeah, problem solved. Real simple to change it, just change the numbers.
I never really caught it.
I didn't know nothing about it.
Okay.
Enough said.
Yeah,
It's out of my hands.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it don't matter what they're called, really.
Well, I think it does. because-
Well, it does.
Yeah, there's guidelines on the redistricting thing that you had to follow.
Because if I remember, where I'm in 2, that had a different area. Well,
Yeah, it was a different
Yeah,
area,
it's
so we
different.
only changed the boundaries on certain ones that had to with the
Yeah.
with the population.
I'd like to get a copy of that.
Like I said, come in our office and look at the census
You got a
book.
copy of that?
Not with me, in the office if you come in.
Okay.
Because then you can look at the census data and the
Sure.
amounts and what we
Yeah.
were working with and how you come up with it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you guys aren't gonna understand just by looking at that.
Well, the only thing it does is the districts we were elected for, it doesn't mean we don't represent anyone else in the other districts. I mean,
'Cause
you
you're
answer the
one.
calls.
Yeah, you gotta represent everybody in the county.
Exactly,
Yeah. Your
exactly.
district boards, but at large, yeah, because
Yeah.
everybody still votes on you guys.
It's when,
Because there's
it's-
different ways, like the county can change the way you're voted on. Some people only in that ward vote on those people.
Yeah.
But you guys are voted on at large.
we're.
Yeah, and how many, that's the thing.
Correct, but you have to live in the district
Correct.
to
To
run
run for
for,
that position.
so,
And there's
yes.
3 different plans the counties can choose from.
And how many, how many,
But like I said, we're
Setups
not
are there
talking about
like
it,
this
so it's
in the
not
whole-
on the agenda,
Yeah.
so.
yeah,
Okay.
how many setups are there like ours in the whole state?
Supervisor Plan 3. I mean, there's different plans. You can go online and look and see. Other
Okay.
counties have different plans that they have to follow.
Yeah, but like Iowa County, they're at large,
They have 5.
yeah. And I think Johnson County
So
and
they
Lynn
don't have
County
their
are too.
wards broken up, right?
Right,
And that would have been passed on.
Well, and I
on
understand
that.
why they're set up in districts, so you've got people from different parts of the county, you know, represent.
right. Otherwise, you could have all 3 of them
You can
from like
have them all,
Vinton.
yeah, crowded in one spot, one
Yeah.
corner, yeah.
And
Yep,
most
yep,
counties,
yep. We need
most
to go on.
counties are that way. You
Yep.
can have, you can run no matter where you're
Okay.
at.
Jennifer,
Yeah, hi. So I am here, hi, I'm Jennifer Fensel from EasyCog. I'm here to get approval for a couple of change orders for the Middle Cedar Watershed, Iowa Watershed Approach Project. There are 2 different sites, but actually, on one of the sites, the Hart site, there are 2 change orders. Not exactly sure why they're separated, but they are. So the first one, and do you guys have?
I got
I
'em.
forwarded them and then I printed some of them,
Okay,
so.
yeah, cause I did just print out one copy, but basically this is, the first one is for the Vinton Wetland site, which I just wrote by, as a matter of fact.
That one affects the Schrader piling one, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
So, so the city, so I'll back up. The original seeding that the contractor did, and he knew he did it out of the recommended time, it didn't take. And then it was, you know, kind of an upsetting topic for the city of Vinton, obviously. So when they were gonna make the seeding company come back and redo it, Vinton asked that there be more of a well, I guess it costs a little more to do the native mix and then some of the wetland plants that they wanted to have at that site. So that is basically what this, for Schrader tiling, that is what the change order is for, and it's an increase of $5,055. And so, do you guys have any, did I explain? I tried.
So it went from 46,0150 to 5,055.
Right,
I have the invoice too.
yes.
So it went up $5,000 because of the reseeding again?
Yes. Now, the seeding company had to come back and reseed at no cost, but the cost,
Of
the
the seed.
higher cost was the different seed that they wanted, that just cost more to obtain.
So was it just that, well, that's the mulch that's higher.
So it looks like it's only 1105 higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not 5,000.
Okay, hang on.
Right?
That's the way I got it,
That's the way
just
I
for the
took it.
straw.
Because it changed it from 46,0150 to 5,055.
Change order, but the invoice suggests otherwise.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Is
see
it
they
have
put
to do with
5055
that?
here, but I'm wondering if it could be just 1105.
Well, I can actually ask Lou, or Dawn for more explanation, but I believe, did I screw up? No?
We could probably call.
I wonder,
They gotta send seed that's good. And it'll grow.
Do you want us to call
so
them?
Well-
maybe I just because that does say net increase of the change order, but that's just for the straw mulching. Oh, you know what? I think this whole invoice that you're looking at is the increase.
that's what I'm guessing too.
I think that it is because these amounts, the quantity amounts measure. Yes, and if you have the change order document under number 3 there, I think if you add those numbers up, it is 5,055. And they correspond to the charges on this entire invoice. So this invoice was meant to be, because we already paid the first time, like the project paid for the seed and the seeding work. Then what this reflects is just the new up, in addition to the seeding that we've already paid for. And so, yes, I believe that is.
It's the
And it's not
different
for the work,
types of
it's for the
seed.
seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the native
Yeah.
wetland seeds are
Yes.
really
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah,
And so, let me ask a question.
sure.
On the original project, what was specified? Native?
Brome, sorry.
It was a brome mix. They say that on the buffer mix, they say that there was some natives in there, but I couldn't tell you exactly what that was. But it definitely was not what, Blake wanted to see with the city of Vinton at the site. And I think, having heard Dawn talk about it some, and help me if I'm not speaking, if I'm not relaying this correctly, but I believe that the intention, because they knew it was gonna be a fall seeding and that it would take a while to establish, I think they were going for that, the erosion control type seed more than what plants will be there. I think they thought that it would populate itself with me. I don't know. It seemed like they sort of felt like it was prudent to do the structural, keep the erosion, you know, in check, and then give it time to kind of transition into, you know, the ecosystem that it's gonna be. Does that seem, that's what I thought they said?
Yeah, well, I think, so I kind of looked into this, Blake had reached out to me also,
Yeah.
asking about the seed. So I think what I was understanding, I had to kind of like make a couple phone calls and track down why brome was such a, heavy option for these projects, and it's because then if it's out in a field somewhere, like in a farmer's field and they're putting in a pond, they can just throw brome on it, be done, walk away. But if it's going to be managed, and you would like it to be prairie, you don't want brome in there to begin with, because you will fight that for the rest of your life. So there was that,
Okay.
that was kind of the struggle, and then Blake was like, well, we don't want brome, we don't wanna be fighting it, we want it to look nice, have there be flowers, have it look nice when you come to town. So that was what got the ball rolling, because we had the same issue with the fen.
Okay.
Originally, it was supposed to have brome on it, and we're like, well, we don't have an ounce of brome on that property right now, so we prefer
We
not.
definitely don't do that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of just like a standard that people go to that don't manage prairies at all, don't manage anything native, is they just plant brome, because you can throw seed at it and walk away. So I
Right,
think
which
if there was,
fits with the
yes.
erosion control
Exactly.
ideas, they just wanted something to cover it, get it, you know.
and I think the mulch, the straw mulch, mulching as needed, that probably increased to prevent erosion.
Right,
That should have just been done the first time with the native seeding.
exactly. Had they
Good.
done it in the right timeline,
Yes.
it would have,
It makes a big difference.
it would not have needed to be, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Does that make sense? From what
Yeah.
I understand?
My question is for you, Jennifer, on the regular estimate,
Yeah,
the 30 days are up a couple days ago. He's still gonna honor his bid?
who was that a couple days ago?
Schrader,
The
Kylie?
Oh, yeah, no. Yes,
Okay.
they need to do it for,
And then the second thing is that, I don't see any on the owner's authorized. You don't really have anybody from Vinton okayed this, do you?
well, via email.
I don't wanna get in another
I know.
match with them.
Exactly, there were a lot of emails. And to the extent that I could keep up with it, my understanding is via email, Blake was fine with this outcome.
So we should get a signature on it then.
Yeah, I guess
Understand?
that probably
Or else I'll
would've
end up
been-
making another trip to Vinton to meet with them.
Right. Yeah, I don't wanna do that either. Okay, I can ask Lou to get something like that signed or something that,
How about I propose this? If you get somebody from Vinton to sign off on this one here,
okay,
and they do, I don't expect you to come back up to the meeting presented. We
Okay.
already talked this over.
okay.
And then we'll okay it, because I
Yep.
mean, they can't seed it now anyway.
Well,
So is that
Yeah.
proposal?
it's
No,
done.
just
It's
for,
just the one.
It's
just for
seeded.
this one. We haven't got into the other stuff yet.
Tracy, it's seeded.
It's
Huh?
done.
It's done.
It's done already?
Yeah, they did it.
They had to.
They had to make it into the window.
Yeah, they had to have all seeded.
Yeah. And this is the paperwork to approve the money difference.
And it's
And Blake-
okay to cover this
So you still want them to
change
sign
in
it?
seed costs with running that under the WMA, right?
Yes,
Okay, and that, it's not gonna cost the county, it's not
No.
gonna cost the city anything additional,
no, it's
even though
covered.
the seed has changed. The cost of the seed has
Right.
changed,
No,
okay?
it won't
Yep, yep,
because,
yep.
the grant was paying the 90% and I believe IDOLS was paying the 10. So
Okay.
it'll be completely covered. Yeah. I can tell, I
You
can
better make
assure you
that
there were
perfectly
a
clear
lot.
to her that she doesn't.
Because it
And
sounds
there was
like
a lot
you
of
don't,
communication with Blake.
it's
I
too
know
late
that.
to say
Yeah,
that.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The horse is already out running, so.
yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is,
Yeah, okay.
as they say. So you need a motion to approve the change order.
You wanna do them together, or do you wanna just,
You
Let's
want-
do
Do
them
them
separate.
Separate?
So
Yeah.
you can
Okay.
name the,
And this was in the amount of
Project number.
5,035?
55, yeah.
But it isn't our,
5,055.
55, not 35.
but it's not our, it's not gonna come out of us.
mm-mm.
No, it doesn't, but we have to
We're the,
approve all these.
yes, we have to
Yeah.
prove it.
You're
Okay.
come
You're the
through.
fiscal agent,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
it's still gonna
right.
show up in our checks that we write
Exactly.
to them.
I'll make the motion that we approve the change order that has been done.
For
For change order
5,000.
1, project number
8,600, project 8,600?
8,600.
Perfect.
Yes, it's for the amount of $5,055.
Yep,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now the second one.
So then do you want Tracy to sign this?
Yeah. I'll just,
We don't want anybody else, we want you.
Well, you're the owner's authorized representation.
Yeah, you got all of the signatures.
Under title, should I write sucker?
how you signed it. Okay, it's fine. Tracy, I feel like something is about to, like a hammer's about to fall.
He's had a lot of signatures, like,
What's
He doesn't have his
happening right now?
his name's on the list.
You know how I feel when I'm signing all those gas forms.
I guess this is the only one she needs.
Yeah, I'll just do that and I'll get it to, well, make Lou get it to Schrader to sign it
And then
and then we'll keep a copy of that. I got you the last one, didn't I? Okay.
No, because you had to send it back to me, but that's the one that University of Iowa's asked for, and you got it to him.
Yes,
So, as long
Okay.
as one of us had it.
yes, okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, we'll
I
get
know
in.
less about this one, unless this is the one where they thought, so this is what they are calling the heart site?
Yep,
Right.
Okay, so is this the one where they thought that there was a 6-inch tile line that they could utilize for the project? And then when they got in there,
You've got two changes.
Yeah,
No.
this
is
would
that
be
not this site?
change order 2 of this site, it sounds like.
There's
You're on
change
1.
order 1 and change order 2.
So change order 2 is what you're referring to, I think, from what I've read. I know nothing about it
Okay.
either, but it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, okay, so on change order 1, okay, so this one has to do with basically the final grading and seeding, I believe.
Mhm.
Additional topsoil, additional
Yeah.
seeding,
Yeah, and then if you look at
Yeah.
reason, it
and then
says
it's
the
got a,
thickness in the pond was less than anticipated. The west of the pond required to be seeded, and the
Right.
additional tile.
So this seed didn't grow either.
No,
Well-
no, that seed never got, it was never wrote into the contract. So they said they were gonna spread the topsoil there, and then there was no thought about what to do with the topsoil afterwards.
Handy,
Yeah, in the contract, it said if the topsoil left the property, it had to go to the landfill,
okay.
which you would have to charge for haul time, or they could save the money and just dump it right on site. And I said, that's fine, but then they're required to seed it, apparently, if they dump it on site,
Sure, yep.
per federal
Erosion.
guidelines, yeah.
Right, right. So that apparently was not in their original scope.
Correct, that was
Okay.
not even
So-
a thought.
So then once it got going and got figured out, then this change was needed. And it seems like possibly it was also impacted by this whole thing where there was thought to be a pipe, but then when they got there, it wasn't where they thought it was, and then what they did find was in terrible condition and collapsed, so they needed to
Mhm.
dig that out and replace, replace it, or actually put it because it wasn't there. And they sized it up from, I think they were planning to use the existing 6-inch, and then they sized it up.
To an 8-inch.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And it went from, according to the sheet,
Yep,
went from 33,320, whatever, 3, I think it is, to 29,275. So it actually went down, if I got the right sheet.
wait, what's happening?
What are you looking at?
Well, the one says additional topsoil, additional seeding.
Additional topsoil?
Oh, okay, that's change order 1, so,
Yeah, isn't that what we're talking about?
Well,
yeah,
we're talking
kind of,
about-
we're
yeah.
just sort of
Or
talking about
are you
both
throwing
things.
both 1 and 2?
Oh, I see. So what you're talking about on the back there,
Oh,
originally they estimated that they would need to seed 12 acres, and it turns out they only needed to seed 10, and
10.
that's the price drop.
Yeah.
But they weren't counting on seeding even that 10.
so, right, so again, this whole
That was never thought
invoice
of.
is the change order, not just the red.
Yeah.
So,
So this was not included in the
In the
it's
original?
the original scope, that's right.
Yep.
Okay, and so even though that, well, that's just confusing as hell.
It is.
Okay. What's the end?
Try coming into the project at the end.
Same.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
I'm new to this also.
This is, yeah, and that's just a
I just
a
pay the
recap.
bills, I don't know about the project.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am learning a lot about the projects in the last couple of weeks, let me tell you.
So that was not part of the original
That's right.
bid?
Yeah.
Even though it was, if we do that, here's what it would
Yep.
cost to do 12 acres.
Yep.
Okay, instead they're doing 10 acres,
Mhm.
and now they will.
Because sometimes it's hard to tell how many acres you do until you get your calculator and you're out there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so for change order 1, the entire bill on the back here is the additional work
Mhm.
that they're doing and asking.
Yeah,
to
for
be
the
changed
29,275.
Yes, and it shows the estimate versus the actual.
Right.
Okay, all right, so do you need that as a separate motion? One,
I mean,
Probably.
Totally out of the past.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
All
let's
right.
do that.
make the motion that we approve change order number 1
For the
Says-
heart site.
at the Hart site.
Mhm.
It says project number 8600.
Well, that's the Iowa watershed approach, so I think that they're all gonna say
But
that.
we'll name the site.
It's
And
hard
this-
site,
Yeah,
the location is the.
Well, this
the
has a
site.
project, you
Schedule
know,
1B, maybe
the
we'll put.
Peterson Contractor Incorporated has a project number on it.
Mhm.
You wanna use that?
Yeah, I think
Top
the
right-hand corner.
Schedule 1B or the heart
Yeah.
site is probably
That would be the
for the
best.
project
That
better.
way, if you had off the paper and everything was the same, you could,
Well, this is the Peterson Contractor's project number, it's J9068 for 29,275.
Right, which is a PCI tracking number, which is not gonna show up in the Iowa watershed
Yeah.
approach documentation at all.
But it
So
also
the
says
heart
that mulching
cider
is not
would be-
required, deduct $190 on there at the top, you see that?
We have a motion, we have a second.
yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the
Okay,
last
so
one,
change order 2 is for the same site, we kinda talked about it already, but basically, a pipe they thought was there, wasn't there, and what was there was crushed.
right,
So then they had to put new, do more digging, put, different sized pipe in, and make all the connections and make everything else.
that was $4,500.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is insane
And
to me that cost that and.
Yeah.
Clear, but okay, whatever.
And I see that there's a,
I guess this is really more the, this is the materials, this isn't any of their labor.
this is for the pipe
Yes, this is
and
material.
whatever the apron is,
Mhm.
It probably don't cost that much different between 6 and 8.
$4,500. Yeah,
Oh,
it's the same
Yeah.
Peterson
One more than
contractor
two, yeah.
job number, except it's numbered 4 under there instead of number 3. You see that, Tracy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you need a motion to approve that we paid the difference in the pipe of $4,500, and I'll
Yep.
make that motion.
I'll second
Change
it.
order number 2.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you for coming up.
Yep. I believe that construction is pretty much complete on everything except one site. Why can't I think of the name of that site? Fleming?
Is this,
I
yeah,
believe-
Fleming's site out there, yeah, it's just,
It's not quite done, the contract deadline was December 15th for all of them, even though we do have additional time because of the
You need this
extension
one.
that they gave.
Yeah, I'll give her all these.
And so I don't, what I don't know is if it's something that can be done in our unusually warm winter that we're having right now, or if it needs to wait until the spring. I'm not exactly sure.
went by there yesterday, I don't think they've got equipment out there any longer.
So they may just be planning to wait.
Yeah.
It would be my guess. So they'll finish that up. I'm still sort of, and maybe Haley, I should ask you this, but I think we're gonna have between $500,000 and $750,000 left
At the end.
in construction. It could be as much as $1 million, but I think it's gonna be closer to that.
I was gonna send you the budget sheets too,
That would be great.
this week.
Yes, that
Because
would
I
be-
know, I think you helped Adam before, right?
Yep,
So,
that
So
would
you
be
would be
great.
able to handle a small project.
Exactly,
Okay.
and I've already been in communication with Paul, is it Keister or Koister?
Probably Keister.
Keister? And he has it's kind of like a waterway grade stabilization project, I believe, that he wants done, and he's already agreed to the match, and I said, we'll just figure this out after, the dead of winter and get it bid out, because it's been environmentally reviewed and approved. That's what I'm trying to do, is identify the projects that have gone through the environmental review process and are just didn't get done. And there was another one, Paul Preeb? No, not Paul, Dale Preeb. And his project, he had some work done on a different site, and he felt like everything was over-engineered. And then this site, he felt like he didn't love the proposed design. I don't know if he's gonna come around and be okay to do it or not. But those are two, and that would not spend everything. So, yeah. So now it's, do you know if there are any other projects that?
I can't
Yeah.
think of any, I'm sure.
The thing is I went through the whole list and I matched them up, and it seems like we've done pretty much all of them. There might be one or two, but there are several that made it through the archaeology review, but not the full environmental review. So I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to identify a couple of those, especially if they don't have any bad habitat or, like any of those kinds of issues, and fast track them through a review. I just don't know. So I'm gonna, after I get numbers and I find out how much we really have, I need to sit down with the engineers and be like, okay, how are we gonna do this? But it's also a weird position to be in, because I don't really wanna tell them how much money I have, because I don't want their engineering costs to magically be that number.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm feeling like I'm at a disadvantage here. I would like to, protect protect our resources here
Not
and
yet.
do get the biggest bang for the buck, but I kind of am at their mercy because I don't, anyway, so just know that I'm trying to keep an eye on that, because I kind of have a feeling like, if I tell them exactly how much you have, they'll be like, oh.
They'll ask.
No. So,
Not sure.
not sure, jeepers, it's a elusive number, I just don't know.
If you got some work you'd like to do and you wanna bid it,
Right,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
You know,
anyway,
they don't just clean up a waterway, do they? It's gotta have a pond.
so waterways can be eligible, but I think that it needs to be maybe sized or in order for there to be some kind of flood reduction benefit, it needs to be able to infiltrate and slow the water down. Because that's the whole point, which is why, we can't just do everything, in terms of conservation. But I have seen waterway plans, so I know that it's allowed. English River is doing a lot of wascobs, and also some, I don't think they're doing so much terracing, it's more like small wascob projects. So, anyway, I just want you to know that I am trying really hard to figure out how we can utilize that money the best we can, and not spend it all on engineering, obviously. But thank you for this, and do you guys have any other questions that I can awkwardly try to answer? Oh, boy. Well, gosh, have a nice Christmas and stuff, and send me budget numbers, and I should probably take those signed ones and get those to work.
Yep.
Do you have anything else, sir?
Okay, thank you so much.
Budget works?
That's it, budget work?
Well, I'm gonna start putting that on there now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
did have Wayne Bruzek brought in his request, the amount's the same, 7,600.
Yeah.
I figured you'd be okay with that, I'll put that in there again. There's some people starting to come next week too.
Okay.
No, I'll just continually have that on there. for you guys
Jennifer?
to
Yes.
discuss.
Could you hang around a minute? I've got a waterway question for
You
you
bet.
afterwards.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
Okay.
So that's why that was on there.
Kate Roberts, I told her that for her request, she don't have to come up here if she just sends it to you.
That's usually what some of them do. Some of
Yeah.
them wanna come present. and
Yeah.
they'll- There's somebody coming in at the 11 for Eastern, or not Eastern, the Kirkwood Workplace.
Okay.
Some of those are starting to trickle in.
Okay. Okay. Just thought I'd tell you about Kate, so, all right. I had landfill last week. Everything's running smooth, so.
good.
The new guy was there at the
I
meeting.
spelled his name right.
I know you did.
I didn't when you, before you texted me.
Okay.
So, I guess we're done tonight.
I think so.
Anything else?
Anything else for next week that, before we forget, since it's holiday week?
No?
We've got a Heartland claim issue that I've got to dive into a little more, and was just briefed on it yesterday, so so I'm really able to say, because I'm not in tune to it, better if I can see what I'm talking about, so.
Oh, and I did talk to Brody on that other bill you asked. He did bring that up, so it should have been in this claim run.
Okay. Very good. All right, well, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
second.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
thank you.